You ready to get this all, Tasha?
I'm ready to get salt, Haley.
All right, let's do it.
So we are on season 1, episode 11.
Scarecrow. Yeah.
And this is one of my favorites from season 1. One of my favorites.
Mine, too.
We get to meet Meg this episode.
Yes, we do. Oh, yeah. Meg, that dirty, dirty whore.
But not the Meg I like. We're meeting the Meg that is first introduced, the blonde one. And I'm not a huge fan of this Meg. I feel like she's kind of like the snotty girl.
I'm not a fan of her. And I don't know if it's because I don't like the way her voice sounds. Because I really don't like the way her voice sounds. Or if it's because I just don't like her because I like the brunette Meg so much better.
The brunette Meg is just more our style.
She really is.
Like, I like that she calls Cass Clarence.
Yeah. So, backstory a little bit. Disclaimer, whatever the fuck. Meg is a demon, and she is inhabiting this body that we first are introduced to.
In this episode.
We very first meet this demon. In later seasons, we see her again, and she is in a different body. And I feel like the personality should be the same because it's the same demon. It's just a different body. But
it's kind of not the same personality. Like, the other Meg puts a whole nother spin on her personality. Mm-hmm. And it just comes off easier to get along with.
Yeah.
Even though you're not supposed to get along with her because it's a demon, but you like her more.
I do. I really like the other Meg.
This Meg just seems like a douche.
Yeah. She's just a bitch.
She seems like the snotty popular girl that nobody likes, but everybody just puts up with because she's rich.
No, to me, she seems like the one that is in every group or is in every high school, depending on how big your high school is. You may have one or two of these. She's the one that just peer pressure. She's
really
the peer
gonna
pressure.
Put up with this? Are you really going to do this again? Like, come on, just come with me. Just do this. Just come on with me.
My idea is so much better than your idea. Just
even
do
though
what I want to do.
Based off of your idea, but my idea is better than your idea.
She's the peer pressure, and I don't like her for that. And the other Meg, the brunette Meg that we meet later, she's more of the like, well, are you sure you want to do that? Because
she seems like the brunette Meg seems like you could throw something in the air and be like, can it go this way or this way? And she's like, I don't really care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, all right, well, let's fuck this shit up. See what happens.
Meg is definitely a very, very strong character.
Yes. And I feel like if she weren't a demon and Cass weren't an angel, they would have fallen in love.
If they didn't fall in love, they would have fucked at least.
At least. I mean,
a few times.
If I were in his spot, I probably would have done the same thing.
She's got such a cute face.
I probably would have like hump walked at her. Like,
she probably would have turned around and hump walked right back to you. Because that's the kind
Please, can that be a thing?
But, okay. So, besides the fact that this episode is super important because we meet Meg.
We also talk to John again.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot. But I also really, really like this episode because of the pagan influences that it has.
Yes.
Because paganism is a very prominent religion nowadays as well.
It's still a big thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I like how everybody is getting back to the roots of being pagan and how more people are being more spiritual instead of religious. Mm-hmm. I think that's really cool.
The spiritual awakening that is happening, and now the 2000s, we're almost in a new decade.
Yeah.
In a brand new decade, and paganism is starting to kind of peek its head out a little bit again, I feel like.
I agree.
Okay. But they're not going to get into it, but I might get into it a little bit later of the whole paganism and roots and things that religious beliefs. And I'm going to really try hard not to because I don't want to go on a soapbox and I don't want this to be a religious podcast and I don't want this to be a in-your-face
this or that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Don't want it to be.
I agree.
So, but I really do like this episode. This is a really good episode. It kind of has a Jeepers Creepers vibe.
And kind of a herald from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Mm-hmm. So we've got a lot of fun things to talk about during this episode. So we're gonna keep going with it.
We're in Burkittsville, Indiana, and I found out it's also a fictional place.
It kind of sounded like a fictional place.
Well, there is a Burkittsville, but it's not in Indiana.
Oh, where's it at?
I don't remember, but I think it's in Minnesota or something. Wisconsin or Minnesota. One of
So
those
it's
two.
still kind of in that.
It's in the area, but it's not in Indiana.
Okay.
But there is a Burkittsville in the United States.
Okay, that makes sense. But we are in the Burkittsville in Indiana a year ago.
Yeah, a year prior to when the episode was recorded.
Right.
And it's a couple who were gassing up in a small town, and they were like, wow, everybody in this town is super nice. Like, gee, what's the catch? And it's like, oh, just, you're deaf.
You're just a sacrifice. It's fine. Yeah, so we have this cute little couple leaving this cute little diner in this cute little town, and everything just kind of wrapped up in a cute little bow, and
just everybody's being so, I feel like the word is wholesome. And when I see that in towns, it just makes me fucking sick because I know it's not true.
It's very face value.
Yes.
This is what you see. This is what I want you to see. This is my mask for you.
Yeah.
And when the doors are closed,
just when I take it off, I turn into a goat. Like, yeah. Excuse me while my goat's showing. The horn is coming out.
Just the one. Just tuck it away. Tuck it away.
Tuck it away. File it off. It's fine.
Yeah. So we have this couple that is leaving this town that is so wholesome and so sweet and so nice and so kind, and they're even like handing here's an apple pie for the road. Like,
yeah,
all of the things, we've taken care of you so far, and we're going to gas your car up for you, because the people that own the car aren't even the ones that are putting the fucking gas in it.
Yeah.
And so we have the owners of this mechanic / cafe / gas station.
I think it's a general store. Because later in the episode, it shows that the is it Scotty's Cafe or whatever?
Scotty's
Diner,
Cafe.
is like across the street or down the road from Jorgensen's general store, which is also the store and the gas station and the mechanic shop.
So it all just kind of rolls into one.
It's a teeny tiny little town.
Right. So the two owners of this general store are the ones that are like the mechanic and the, here, let me help you on your way. And
yeah.
We're just going to make sure you get back to the interstate. And the niece...
Yeah, she's also like helping them out too. She notices them, and the guy has a tattoo on his arm.
Yeah, like on his forearm.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Hey, cool tattoo."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, thanks."
That is trashy ass fucking tribal. That is not cool. I don't care who the fuck you are.
I'm pretty sure in my notes I said it's not a cool tattoo. It's a freaking tribal garbage piece. But whatever.
Yeah. Like, all I keep thinking is that's like the equivalent of a fucking butterfly tattoo on the back of some chick's, like, tailbone.
Yeah.
Like tramp stamp.
Hey, if you have one, it's neither here nor there, but tribal is garbage, so whatever.
Yeah, unless you are actually someone whose heritage has the tribal...
There you go.
...in it. But all I keep thinking is they're pretty much feeding you your last meal. Like, when you're in prison, before you get sent to the gas chamber, you get your last meal of, like, filling yourself up with all these delicious foods...
That is almost verbatim what they say later.
Here's the pie that your sacrifice is going towards.
I hope
this
apple pie is freaking worth it.
To them, it seems to be. But yeah, they're even giving them the pie that their sacrifice is going towards.
Yeah, basically. So gross.
The car breaks down. So the guy from the general store gives them directions on heading back towards the highway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's like, okay, so now that your car is full of gas and we fixed whatever mechanical issue that you had coming into this, here's directions on how to get back to the interstate. So they're going down this...
And it takes them by the orchard.
Yeah, they're going down this, like, super remote road. And they drive by this creep-ass orchard, and their car dies.
Yeah.
And then the cell phone dies. And then the dude looks out his window, and he's like, oh, it seems like there's a house over there, so maybe we should get out and go and figure out how to get back to this town that we just left, where everyone was so fucking nice.
Yeah.
And the chick looks at the orchard, and she's like,
no.
And just like the chick in the episode previous that we just recorded.
Yeah.
Maybe you should listen to your girlfriend.
Yeah. Girls are smart.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we are.
Like, we try to be. Like, we say some pretty logical stuff. Like, we can be kind of irrational creatures sometimes. But But when it comes to danger,
listen to us.
listen to us, please.
But
Also, don't split up.
please. They don't. They don't in this
They
part.
don't this time. Finally,
No.
somebody doesn't split up.
Yeah. So she ends up listening to her new husband
Yes.
because they are newlyweds. We find this out later. They are newlyweds. She listens to her new husband and she goes into this creep ass fucking apple orchard that has way too many aesthetically pleasing things about it. Like the apple crates and the apple barrels that are so perfectly placed underneath each and every tree atop a straw bale. Like
everything's just perfect. Well, it's supposed to be a perfect town. So they come across this scarecrow. Mm-hmm. And the dude is like, check it out, if I only had a brain. And she's like, we wouldn't be lost if you had a brain.
The scarecrow has a very Jeepers Creepers vibe.
I also got Harold from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Like,
yeah, you mentioned that, and that didn't even register in my mind, but I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, the farmer in Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, his scarecrow was like moaning and groaning and like making noises. And at the very end of it, Harold had, I think it was either the farmer or somebody else, but he had their skin drying out on the roof of the farmer's house, and he was,
that makes me think
someone.
That makes me think maybe Jeepers Creepers or the Harold from.
I think that's where Jeepers Creepers got their storyline from, was Harold, because Harold was first.
It's very pagan, very,
Yes.
very, very. But we are going to try and not. I probably will get on a rant, but I'm going to try to not. So they find the very creepy scarecrow.
Creepy scarecrow.
And through this apple orchard that they're trying to find somebody to help them with their car that they had just quote unquote gotten fixed and gassed up and everything should be fine. And they're running through this orchard trying to find the house or trying to get to the house. They haven't even made it to the house that Vince, the dude in this scenario, his name is Vince. And they're trying to get to this house. They come across the scarecrow. The girl is very creeped out. Her name is Holly. Mm-hmm. She's very creeped out by this scarecrow. So they start going even faster towards this house.
The subtitles say that they hear growling, but when I listen to it, it doesn't sound like growling. It sounds like moaning.
It does. Yeah.
Like moaning or groaning. Like it doesn't sound like growl.
It's not a growl. No. I don't think so either. I didn't think so either.
They hear it and they're like, "Oh my God, let's go!" And so they start booking it towards this house with lights on. And somewhere in the mix-up, we lose what's his name?
Vince.
We lose Vince, and she doesn't realize it for a little bit, but she stops and starts to look for him. And then she, instead of running towards the lights,
no, she turns around to go and find him.
She turns around and starts running back and then trips over him.
She doesn't realize it's him until she looks down. And did you notice at this point, too? Because she looks down, and at the time, it's literally seconds. Mm-hmm. It is not even a minute. It is literally seconds between the time that she realizes that he is gone and the time that she trips over him. He's skinned. Already.
Yeah.
And his body is just laying up in the middle of this orchard.
Well, I'm assuming that gods can probably do that very fast.
Well, then why the fuck didn't they skin him that fast at the end? When they pulled...
That's fair.
Auntie and uncle.
Well, it's got to be dramatic effect.
True. But she trips over him, and when she looks down and the camera, like, pans down to what she sees, it's very fast. Did you notice that?
Yes.
It's like, boom, boom. Like, they didn't want you to see as much... Like, they didn't want to scare the viewers? I don't know what happened there, but I feel like it could have lasted at least...
A little bit longer.
Maybe 5 seconds more, and it would have been fine.
Maybe. I think maybe 5 seconds. Like, it seems short to us, but 5 seconds in a television show could be a long time.
That's true. Either way.
We see the skinned face. And that's still...
And his teeth.
And his teeth.
And his teeth. Yeah.
It's still pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
But we go back to where the last episode ended.
Well, she, like, screams and screams into the night.
Well, yeah.
He took her, too. The scarecrow
took her, too.
Yeah.
Because, you got to put that skin somewhere.
You gotta get the male and the female sacrifice just to keep the
keep the crops good.
Yeah.
Gotta keep the village safe. So it goes to Sam and Dean, and it goes back to the last episode's ending where Sam answers the phone, and it's John. God, I love Jared Padalecki, but Jesus Christ, his acting is awful. Awful in this episode. Like the half crying, like, Dad, where are you?
Tell me where you are.
Right? Like, I'm sorry, but I just, it's not very believable to me. Like, the half crying, it's like the forced, like, but Dad. I feel like I honestly feel like he should be calling him Daddy. But Daddy, where are you, Daddy? But I need to find you, Daddy.
So Sam, we get to actually hear the conversation that John is having with Sam that we left from in Asylum.
Yeah.
And
Sam wants to know where John's at, and John's like, I can't tell you that.
I'm not going to tell you that.
Well, like, not only that he doesn't want to, he can't. Like, Sam cannot be there. Dean wakes up during this whole conversation. He's like, is that Dad? Give me the phone.
Yeah. And Sam's not having it. I'm on the phone. Leave me alone. Like, he doesn't say these things, but you can tell that that's kind of where he's at with the conversation.
Well, he just wants answers.
Well, because John is telling him, too, like, I know what happened to your mom. I know what killed her. I know that...
I heard what happened to your girlfriend.
I know that your girlfriend died, and I'm so, so sorry, but I cannot have you anywhere near me. So, FYI, it was a demon that killed her. I don't blame Sam at all for being like, where the fuck are you? Like, tell me, you're telling me that a demon killed my mom, and the same demon killed my girlfriend? Like, tell me where you are. I need to help you. I need to be there.
Yeah.
So I don't blame Sam at all. And questioning, because John starts telling him, get a pen, write these names down. Get a pen, write these names down.
For you. You need to write these names down.
Tell me where you are. I need to fucking be there.
But Dean grabs the phone and he's like, hey, Dad, where are you? And then he doesn't question. He's like, all right, let me get a pen.
Yeah, he says, yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'll grab a pen. And he grabs a pen and he writes the name down. And Sam is...
Because he's a good boy and he does what Daddy tells him to do.
He's a good soldier.
Daddy, he just takes the names down and he does the job. Mm-hmm. He does what he's told.
And you can see like the shift in the emotions that Dean goes through when he grabs the phone from Sam.
Yeah.
And he's talking to his dad. He's like, hey, where are you? What are you doing? Hey, where are you? And then you don't hear what John says, but you see Dean kind of shift and like kind of straighten up.
Yeah.
And give him the, yes, sir.
Yeah.
And puts his head down and just jumps as high as John tells him to do.
Does what he needs to do.
I know. It's sickening.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that.
No.
So after that whole phone call, Sam and Dean go on the road, and they're going over the case, and they found John found three different couples that all went missing. Mm-hmm. And they're all from different towns and states. Mm-hmm. I think it was Washington, New York, and Colorado.
Yeah, they're all from different parts of the country, but they travel. They're all going on these road trips, and they never made it to their destination, but they all went through the same small town in Indiana.
Well, they all took a trip through the same part of Indiana, and later Dean says he went through two other towns, and then he landed on Burkittsville, and that was like his last little part. Mm-hmm.
And it's all during the second week of April.
Yeah.
And John has just kind of whittled all of this down between obits and missing persons, and
Dean's praising him. He's like, man, like the work that he had to go through. He's a master, and the amount of hours that he had to put into this to like find all the connections, and like get your fucking dad off the goddamn pedestal.
Yeah.
Like, my dad died when I was 8, and I haven't even put him on a pedestal that high.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus.
Yeah. It's not healthy the way that Dean views his dad. But
yeah, but Sam pulls the car over and he's like, I don't think this is okay. I don't want to go. I'm going to go to Sacramento. I found out that that's where Dad was calling from.
Yeah, because the payphone that he called from has the Sacramento area code. And so Sam is already like showing all of these signs of super smart Sam, like we've been calling him from episode 1.
Yeah.
And is putting these like
pieces together.
Yeah,
he's putting all the
he's
pieces together.
Noticing that John called from a payphone and in the Sacramento area. So Sam is like, I'm fucking out. Like, I'm not going to keep jumping every time Dad says jump. And I'm not going to just blindly follow him to the next town because that's what he says we have to fucking do.
And Dean's like, I know how you feel. And Sam's like, no, you don't.
How old were you when Mom died? 4? Just died 6 months ago. How the hell would you know how I feel?
Yeah.
And, like, when he said that, I was like, oh, shit.
Well, as much as...
Like, that's so true, though.
Yeah, and as much of, like, a wham baby that we always say that Sam is...
But he is kind of a wham baby.
He is, and he takes off. He grabs the shit out of the trunk of the car, and he just takes off on foot, and he's, I'm going to California. Like, yes, he is being a wham baby, but at this point, like... Especially because I have identified and I've tried to defend and I've tried to see it from Sam's point of view all the way up until this point. I feel like you, who has been very anti-Sam from the get, and anybody else that has watched this and been very anti-Sam from the get, now it just kind of like... They're kind of personalizing him a little bit more now because of the way that he's standing up for himself.
Yeah, he's being his own person.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, shit's still fresh with Sam, you know, and Sam is even like, you don't even question him. And Dean's like, it's called being a good son.
But it's not.
But it's not. That's being a good soldier.
And I don't think that Dean understands how to differentiate the two.
I don't think so either.
But Sam is the one. He's like Jiminy Cricket. He's the one that is questioning everything. He is the voice of reason. He's the one that's saying like, but should you blindly trust this man? There's so many fucking layers to this shit.
It's like an onion.
It's the ogre. Ogres have layers. If you try to dissect these episodes as many times and as much as Tasha and I have seen these episodes and all of the entire series, and you can start to peel away the layers, it just shines a completely different light than just what you see at face value when you very first see the episodes.
Yeah.
But lucky for you, you don't have to watch it a million times like we do unless you want to, because you probably will, because we are going to show you all of the layers.
Yeah.
Welcome to our podcast.
On this episode, I do side with Sam. You should not have blind faith in someone, in anyone.
No.
You should have questions. You should be able to voice those questions and have them answered instead of...
And you should always be your own person.
Yeah.
100% you should always be your own person and stand up for what you believe in. And
well, we find that out that Dean agrees by the end of the episode.
Yes, he does. And that is another reason why we are Team Dean. Yeah.
So after all of this, in this little hissy fit fight type thing, Sam is like, I want you to leave me. That's the point of why I'm walking away.
He grabs all of his stuff out of the trunk of the car and he walks away and he's headed towards Sacramento and
he's going to hitchhike, which is not safe.
No. But Dean takes off and heads towards Indiana like he was told to.
He heads towards Burkittsville. He went to 2 other places first, and then he landed in Burkittsville, and he's like, well, figured I'd ask here too.
Which, when they show Burkittsville, the roads look like bike trails.
Dean, like, looks at his phone after he parks into this town, and it looks like he wants to call Sam, but he also looks like he's just too pissed off to call Sam.
Yeah.
And he goes up to
Scotty
at Scotty's cafe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he walks. It's a guy sitting outside Scotty's cafe that Dean just assumes is Scotty.
Let me guess, Scotty.
And he says that he is John Bonham.
Yeah,
and Scotty is like, isn't that the drummer for Led Zeppelin?
Yeah. Oh, cool, classic rock fan.
Yeah. Oh, Dean. So, Dean asks him if he recognizes these 2 people that are friends of his that have been missing for about a year and hands him 2 flyers of missing people for Holly and Vince.
Yeah.
Which is the couple from the beginning.
And he says that he doesn't recognize them and they don't get very many new people.
We don't get many strangers around here is what he says.
Yeah. So Dean leaves.
And I love that he jokes around with Scotty a little bit because Scotty kind of has this like grumpy cat look on his face all the time. Just like very,
Yeah.
And Dean is like, man, Scotty, you got a smile that lights up a room. Did you know that?
Anybody tell you that? So then we cut to Sam walking down the road, and he comes up on this itty-bitty little blonde-haired girl.
She's sitting on the ground on her luggage, and she's listening to her headphones.
Yeah, and he scares the shit out of her. And then he asks...
Scares the hell out of her, she says.
Oh, yeah.
You scared the hell out of me. Well, bitch, you're a demon. So, sitting on the floor, getting closer to hell. Is that what you're doing?
So he asks where she's going, and she's like, I'm not going to tell you. You could be a freak. Like, you're hitchhiking after all.
And he's like, yeah, and
bitch,
so are you. But we
bitch,
see...
what you mean? Like,
we see this van pull up, and the driver's like, need a ride? And
they're both like, yeah.
Sam and Meg are both like, yep. And creepy van guy is like, take the girl.
Just her.
Just her.
Yeah, and not only that, but like, creepy van dude looks fucking disheveled.
Yeah.
Like, filthy disheveled.
Yeah.
And not everybody who drives a van looks like that. But,
True.
But I have found out most people who drive those big white Econovans, they look kind of trashy. So... Well, first...
Meg climbs in the van. Sam's like, you're really going to trust that creepy van guy over
like,
me?
Shady van guy.
And she's like, well, yeah.
Definitely.
And they drive off.
Yeah. Drive off and leave Sam. And Sam's like, well, fuck you guys.
You know she slit his throat and was like, oh, just ran into Sam.
Just need to make a phone call.
You know she did.
After this whole thing, it cuts back to Dean, and it goes to Jorgensen's, I believe that's what it is, Jorgensen's Cafe or General Store.
I don't know. I never got the name of the store that the aunt and uncle work at.
And he's asking the people from the beginning of the show if they've seen the missing persons.
Yep. So he's trying to find the missing person still, and he's still handing out these flyers that he has that he handed to Scotty.
Yeah.
And it's the older couple that handed out the pie and was gassing up the car.
Super sweet to him,
and
being all lovey.
He's talking to that couple, and he's like, do you know who these people are? And the man is like, nope, never seen him before. I don't know who that is. I don't know. And he's like, oh, so you say they were friends of yours? I'm sorry, but they haven't been around here.
Yeah, and then we found out her name is Emily later, but Emily walks down the younger girl, and she asks if he had a tattoo.
She's the one that commented on his tattoo.
Yeah, and we find out later it's her uncle, and her uncle's like, Jesus Christ, here we go.
Yeah,
like,
she's like, oh, remember them? Like,
yeah,
they had just gotten married.
Yeah, yes, we did see them.
Yeah, she's like trying to do the whole like, jog your memory, old man. You're getting old and you don't remember. And he's like, oh yeah, they only stopped for a few minutes.
They were only here for like 10 minutes or less. Yeah. I mean, how can I remember that really? Yeah. And then he points Dean in the direction that he pointed the couple to. Like, this is
back to the quote unquote interstate.
Yeah. This is where they went.
Yeah. And as Dean is driving down the road, his EVP starts...
EMF reader goes off.
EMF reader, yeah. It starts going off in the back seat.
Yeah, Dean's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so he's like reaching in the back seat, trying to drive down the road, and he's trying to grab this EMF reader, and it's just humming. Yep, he pulls over, and guess where he's at? He's at the fucking orchard.
Yeah. So he gets out to investigate, and he's looking around, and he finds the scarecrow. So as Dean is like looking this guy over, we realize that he has like a sickle in his hand, and it's the first time we see it like zoom into the sickle. And
it's aggressive.
It is very aggressive. Like, what the fuck does a scarecrow, rabbit ears around that, scarecrow have a sickle for? Like, you're there to scare the fucking birds off.
Typically.
Yeah. So why do you need a sickle?
It's aggressive.
And then
Dean walks up and he's like, dude, you're fugly. And if you're new to this podcast, or if you are new to the term fugly means
fucking ugly. You are not just, man, you're ugly, but you are fucking ugly.
But you're not even worth saying both words.
No.
You're fugly. So Dean uses that term so
well.
Eloquently.
Yeah. But he notices the scarecrow's arm, so he grabs a ladder to
and
get
you know what I
closer.
thought last episode when we were talking about seeing the super creepy secret room that Dr. Ellicott had.
Yeah.
And how if a normal person saw that super creepy room, there would be a Tasha-shaped hole in the door. There would be a Haley-shaped hole in the door. Because we run away from that, like, I love creepy. I love creepy.
Yeah.
I love weird. I love all of the horror things.
Yeah.
But you put me in that situation and you will find a Haley-shaped hole in the door.
Yeah. Fuck out of here.
We
Bye.
run the opposite direction. If I were to see something odd on a scarecrow that looks as fugly and creepy as this scarecrow does,
Like, the thing is made out of sewed-together skin.
I
It's
would
pretty
not
fucking obvious.
grab a ladder to get a closer look and to be eye level with this motherfucker.
No.
I would run the opposite direction. But the Winchester brothers,
This is what they're
whether it
raised
is
to do.
Sam or whether it is Dean or whether it is both of them, will grab a fucking ladder or will push open that door and they will be in the middle of the shit and they will go head on into the creepy and head on into the scary and the gross and the not normal. And that's exactly what I thought when I saw this scene. I'm like, okay, obviously his skin is held together by fucking thread and needle, and it is somebody else's skin.
And he obviously does it himself because the thread job is awful.
It's terrible. But he grabs a ladder, and he climbs up that fucking ladder, and he gets eye to eye with that guy.
And looks at it.
He pulls up his sleeve, and he sees the tattoo, albeit faded.
Yeah.
He sees the tattoo, and he looks the fucking scarecrow in the eye and says,
Nice tat.
Yeah.
nope. That's why they do what they do. That's why I don't do that.
That's why we do what we do.
Yes. We'll talk about it
We'll talk about it.
in the comfort of our own home.
But we won't be about it.
No. No, especially like pagan gods. Not fucking with that shit.
Nope.
Not even a little bit. Nope.
So Dean goes back to the general store.
Yep.
And he talks to Emily. Mm-hmm. And right when he called her Emily, I'm like, is everyone fucking wearing some sort of name tag? Like, just,
It's her necklace.
I know it's her necklace, but like Scotty was sitting underneath a sign that said Scotty's Cafe.
There should have just been an arrow pointing. That's Scotty.
Yeah. Just like she's like, I'm Emily. This is my name on my.
This is my necklace.
Oh, you're back, and he's like, I never fucking left.
I went over to that weird, creepy orchard.
Mm-hmm.
You seen that orchard?
You seen that? Have you seen the scarecrow?
Like, did you grow up around here?
And she's like, no, I came here when I was 13. Her parents died of a car accident.
Part of me wants to think that.
I think it's part. I think maybe her parents died because of the town.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Because they died of a car accident. Get the fuck out of here?
Yeah.
Don't lie to me.
Yeah, it's just
a male and a female died in a car.
all too simple.
So her aunt and uncle took her in, and he's like, man, everyone is nice in this town. And she's like, we're just blessed here. Everybody around us is losing their farms.
Yeah.
Like,
it might be out in the boonies, but I love it. And
they are blessed.
She takes on that like storyteller role of what because we always get that storyteller person within these episodes.
Yeah.
There's always that person that gives the background and the history of whatever they're hunting.
Yeah.
So she is this storyteller that we see in this episode, and she's saying how, it's really odd that all of the towns around us they're losing their towns and their farms are dying, but this town that we're in,
like, we're blessed. And that's when you're like, oh, something weird's going on here because, you're not dying like everywhere else. Because their apples are magic. Not magic mushrooms, magic apples.
Mushrooms are better.
Agreed.
So Dean sees a car in the bay of the mechanic shop, which is part of the general store.
Being worked on.
And he's like, oh, is that your aunt and uncle's? And she's like, no, it's a customer's. They're having some mechanic trouble or some car trouble or whatever, and my uncle's helping to fix it up. And he's like, it's not a man and a woman, is it? She's like, yeah,
actually
it is.
So he also asked her if she's seen this scarecrow in the field,
and she's like, yeah, but it creeps me out.
It's fucking terrifying, and she doesn't know whose it is.
It's just always been there.
Always been there.
And that interaction, we get a lot from her. She's the storyteller of this episode, and we hear a lot of the background and the history.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of scene jump over to Sam, who is in a
bus station.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to call Dean and then decides against it. He's looking for a Sacramento bus, but it doesn't run again until the next day at 5:05 p.m.
Yeah, and the fucking lady behind the counter is like super bitchy bitch.
Douchey.
And because Sam is like the kid on every infomercial that you see, and he's like,
There's got to be another way.
like, to get to California. And the bitch looks at him and she's like, yeah, buy a car. And
all right, asshole.
I would have fucking hit her.
I'd have been like, thanks, douche. Because obviously I have the money to buy a fucking car.
When I'm in a bus station.
Asking to get a ticket.
Yeah.
Which is like $50 compared to like $4,000 to $10,000.
I am so glad that you caught on to that too, because it's in my fucking notes. She made me mad.
Yeah, no, all I keep thinking is, wow, douche. And Sam turns around and he runs into Meg.
Who's sitting on the floor again.
Again.
Because she wants to be close
She's
to hell.
lounging. And she says, like, you were right, the dude was a creep. And then he
was all hands.
Yeah, finds out that they were, well, she was all hands and knife.
I swear to God, she had to. I swear she did.
Second dude in the van with the fucking mural painted on the side.
You see that one, but this.
Can I just say I really want a van with like mural like that? I would love that. Like the moon with like the shit on the side. Like, that's so cool.
I think it's in Friends when Phoebe buys a van that's like that because she wants to do a catering business with Monica.
Yeah.
And the chick on the side of the van has lights that light up in her nipples. So good. If I had a van, I would want a mural on the side with lights in the nipples.
I think I need to screenshot a picture of the van and see if it's the same one. When it's the other guy that can convince other people to do stuff with his brain, and he's living out of his van.
And he just happened to convince the guy to give him his van?
Yeah.
Oh, I bet it.
I want to see if that's the same van.
Oh, let's do it.
Okay.
I will update you.
Yeah.
We will update you.
But they're both headed to California, and this is when she introduces herself as Meg.
I just really don't like her.
I don't like her. I don't like this Meg.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure she's a great actress. But I just don't like this Meg as much as I like the other one.
She wears this Meg very well because the Meg that we like knows Sam and Dean.
Mm-hmm.
The Meg that we like is one that has like invested herself into
she realizes
the
how
Winchesters.
Fucked everything is.
Right. So this Meg is following orders, just like Dean.
That makes sense.
This Meg knows that there's a Winchester boy out there who she needs to go and find, and she needs to.
Well, I think part of her job is luring Sam away.
Yeah.
From Dean.
Right.
But we don't get there yet. So we cut to Dean going to the diner to order a coffee and pie to talk to this couple who apparently, according to the people in the town, have car trouble. Their brake lines are leaking.
We stopped for gas, and the mechanics saved our life.
Yeah.
Because our brake line was leaking.
And all I keep thinking is, like, while they're saying this, I'm making, like, the jerk-off motion with my hand. Like, oh, yeah. They're just, gotta fix your shit. Like, let me wank it to that. Like,
right? And Dean's like, and he's like, well, how long is it going to take for that to be fixed? And the guy's like, sundown. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what it is, sundown.
Yeah, and Dean's like,
I can fix a brake line?
Fix it in an hour.
Yeah.
I can have you on the road. And they're like, well, we would actually prefer to have a mechanic.
We want the mechanic to do it.
Like, I see Alexis from Schitt's Creek being like, but we should have the mechanic do it if that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm totally not trying to just, like...
You know what, David?
I'm not trying to demean who you are, but, like, I feel like we should have a mechanic do it.
Yeah.
And Scotty, the diner owner, is just like, can you leave these people alone, please?
And Dean's like, I'm just having friendly conversation. Like,
as they're having their last meal.
Leave me alone. Yeah. Scotty is, like, totally fattening him up. Here's some apple pie on the house.
Yeah. This is what you're about to be sacrificed for.
Here's your apple cider that I'm giving to you and pouring so frequently. And I'm, quote unquote, forgetting to bring Dean his coffee and pie.
Yeah. Also, I see the spread on the plate, and all I can think of is like challenge accepted. Let me stuff it in my face.
It looks yummy. It looks
Except
so yummy.
for the pie, I don't like fruit pie anything.
I would give me a pie over a cake any day. I hate cake.
I don't hate cake.
I hate cake.
I don't like cake that has too much frosting.
The only cake that I like is cheesecake.
That's fair. I like cheesecake.
I love cheesecake. I hate real cake, and I absolutely fucking adore pie.
I don't like fruit pie.
I love my favorite
like pumpkin pie, and I like.
Ew.
Well, I like pumpkin pie when it's like so covered in whipped cream that you can't.
You
see
like whipped
the
cream
pumpkin
pie.
I like whipped cream pie, and I like banana cream pie or
cream pie.
Yeah, I like cream pies.
Okay,
I like cream pies. But I like refrigerated pies, not fruit pies.
I
don't like the fruit. I like the cream.
My favorite pie is peach pie. Peach pie, peach cobbler. I love peach. I love the flavor of peach.
I take it back. I do like strawberry rhubarb pie.
So, okay, that's a fruit pie.
But that's the only one.
That's fine. That's
fair.
fair.
Only one that I like. I don't like any other ones.
I'll take it.
Okay. Because my Aunt Ramona used to make strawberry rhubarb pies because we used to live next to this
rhubarb is like mint.
Rhubarb and Strawberry Farm. I think their names were like the Cheenies.
Yummy.
But when I was a little kid, we would like army crawl into their farm, like their fields, and we would rip down rhubarb.
Yeah, you would.
And we would steal all the strawberries, and we would crawl back. Mm-hmm. And my aunt had a blueberry bushes on the side of her house, a huckleberry bush in the back, and a blackberry and raspberry bush on the opposite side.
I want to go to there.
They tore her house down.
That's sad.
And then they would have the strawberries right there. They also tore the whole farm down and made a horse field. But still, when I was younger, the shit was mint. That's where I got it from, and that's the only fruit pie that I like. And it's not even just any strawberry rhubarb. It's if my Aunt Mo makes it.
Yeah.
So.
But I like pies. While Scotty is not getting Dean his coffee and his pie, he's calling the sheriff because Dean is scaring off their new offering to their pagan god.
Their sacrifice.
Yeah, he's scaring him off. So the sheriff comes in and he's like, so we got a problem here?
Yeah.
And Dean's like, dude, I'm having a bad day.
Come on.
Leave me alone. And the fucking sheriff runs him out of town.
Chases him out with lights and sirens on. And it goes back to Sam, and he's drinking fucking beer with Meg.
Yeah.
Hanging out. Just two old buds.
And she is being so, identifiable for Sam. My family is just, they want me to be this person that I'm not, and they don't want me to be who I am, and I left because my family said that I wasn't being the person that they wanted me to be, and Sam,
I just need to be myself.
Yeah, and the whole time she's talking, the more and more she's talking, Sam is like,
yeah.
Hard eyes, motherfucker. Yeah. He's getting these hard eyes for her because she's saying everything just exactly what he needs to hear.
You get an inkling, even if this is your first time watching the episode, you're like, why is she so perfect for what Sam needs right now? Mm-hmm. What is going on, and why does he keep running into her? Obviously something big is going to happen, including her, but what the fuck?
Yeah, and Sam is even like, well, because she does the whole, I'm sorry, I'm saying too much. And Sam is like, no, you're... I know exactly what you're talking about because my brother wants me to be that person too.
Yeah, Sam reciprocates.
And just feeds into all of it.
Yeah, and they cheer to doing things their way.
Yeah, let's be who we are and let's be our own fucking person and doing things our way and cheers and what the fuck ever.
Yeah.
Meg is just totally serving it to him on a platter.
She's trying to create a bigger wedge between Sam and Dean. Mm-hmm. She's trying to hammer it in there so that way it stays there and Sam goes
with her
to California because that's where they need him to be for everything to happen.
Yep. We cut back over to Dean, but we get to see a nice shot of baby's ass driving down the fucking highway because we haven't seen that in a couple episodes. Thank God we finally see it again. And he's headed back towards the town that he just got ran out of.
Yeah. And you see the couple's car break down in the middle of the night. Like, they're finally heading out of town. Their car breaks down.
Yeah, because it's sundown.
And it's sundown. And
that's when you got to make your sacrifice.
Of course, they have to walk through the orchard
and the girl's
to
like,
the house.
I don't understand what happened. We just got our car fixed.
Yeah.
Weird. What happened? And, okay, so when Dean is talking to them in the diner, he totally tries to take this, like, the Sam approach.
Yeah, and tells him that it's the road's not safe after dark. And he's like, man, if my brother looked at you with his puppy dog eyes.
And he totally freaks the girl out. He's like,
you know, it's just that these roads, they're not real safe at night.
I'm sorry?
I know it sounds strange, but you might be in danger.
Yeah.
And they're like, excuse me?
We're trying to eat.
Yeah. And he's like, man, if my brother did this, it would fucking work.
Yeah. Because Sam's got the puppy dog. I lost my shoe.
And all I can think of when I see them walking through this orchard at this point where she's like, we just got a car fixed. The dude is probably like, if we would have just let that fucking guy in the diner fix our car for free.
We just would have let the other dude do it. We'd be fine right now.
Uh-huh.
And the scarecrow appears, and then they run into Dean.
Mm-hmm. They're running away from the scarecrow, and they see Dean, and he's got his shotgun with the salt rounds in it.
Dean's like, move.
Yeah, get the fuck back to the cars. Like, you're in the wrong place right now.
So he starts shooting at the scarecrow, and it helps him get out of the orchard.
But the salt rounds don't do...
It doesn't kill him.
Anything. It doesn't make him dissipate. It doesn't make him do anything.
But it does...
When he's shooting, it, like...
pauses him for a second, so that way the other couple
can
run away.
They end up getting away, but in previous episodes, when they shoot a spirit that's inhabiting something...
It
with
gets
the salt
out
rounds,
of it. Yeah.
It gives them way more time than what they're getting now. And this moment is where I'm sure Dean is like, this isn't a spirit I'm fighting now.
Yeah.
Like, this is something completely different. Mm-hmm. And this is when we realize, we don't realize that it's a pagan god at this point.
No, but he does.
But he does.
So either Dean calls Sam or Sam calls Dean, and they're talking. And Dean is telling Sam all about the scarecrow and how he got the couple out safely. And Sam's like, well, do you need me? And Dean's like, I can cope without you. It's fine.
The couple's fine.
I'm fine.
The couple's fine.
Now Dean's doing it. I'm fine. I'm fine. It's fine. We're good. We're good.
Right.
It's okay.
And Sam's like, well, it's got it. This is where we hear it. Like, well, this scarecrow has to be animated by some spirit. And Dean's like, nope. Nope, it is a pagan god. Or it's a god. It's a pagan god. We don't know which one it is, though.
But it's a pagan god due to annual cycling of its killings.
There's the annual cycles. There is the
fact that it's a man and a woman.
Yep.
And it could be some kind of, like, fertility rite.
And the way that the town treats these couples that they choose for the sacrifices, they're treating them like
fattening them up like Christmas turkey.
Because they're feeding them their last meal. And it's very ritualistic.
Yeah, the last meal given to sacrificial victims. And it's to... Dean really thinks it's to appease a pagan god that's possessing a scarecrow.
And so Sam's like, well, which one is it? And Dean's like, well, I don't know. I don't have my geek sidekick to do all the research, so I'm headed to a community college to talk to a professor.
Yeah.
And Sam kind of gives him a giggle.
His trusty sidekick.
Yeah, and he's like, well, if you need my help, if you're hinting that you need my help, maybe you should just say it. And Dean's like, well, I'm not hinting at anything.
Dean, after this, pretty much says without saying, like, he's sorry. And Sam's like, I'm sorry, too.
Yeah, we get this really sweet soapbox about how Dean is...
He agrees that Sam needs to live his own life.
And he admires Sam at this point, too. Like, he's realized the fact that he admires Sam for standing up to their dad.
Yeah, that he respects him. That he respects him for being able to be his own person.
And he's very proud of his brother for doing the things that... And Dean doesn't say it because either he can't say it or he doesn't want to say it, but he's very proud of his brother for doing the things that Dean can't do.
Yeah. Like
towards their dad.
He's standing up to dad, and Dean feels like he would never be able to do that.
And he's very proud of his brother, and he tries to say sorry, but he can't say the words, I'm sorry. So Sam just basically says, I'm sorry too.
Yeah.
Like, he acknowledges that he knows where his brother is trying to go.
Yeah.
But
and Dean wants Sam to call him when he finds Dad, and Sam says he will.
And all the while Sam and Dean are on the phone, Sam is in the bus station still because they're waiting for
the bus to Sacramento.
Yeah, and then he's talking very quiet, and every time the camera is on Sam, he's talking very quiet, and he kind of is like, his eyes are darting back over to Meg.
Well, because she's sleeping and he doesn't want to wake her up.
Right. But she's sleeping on the floor? Weird.
Closer to hell?
Yep.
Maybe.
And she wakes up at the perfect time.
Perfect time as Sam's saying goodbye.
Yeah.
Of course.
And she's like, well, who was that? And Sam's like, well, it was my brother. What'd he say? Like, she's very...
She needs to know everything. Like, she's too nosy. Mm-hmm. Too nosy to be someone that doesn't know them.
And Sam basically is just like, well, he said goodbye. Like...
Yeah, he was basically saying goodbye.
He's come to terms with it, and he is okay with it, and I said goodbye, and they're just kind of like on this common ground at this point.
Yeah.
Which is not anywhere near where they were at the beginning of the episode.
No.
Not anywhere near where they have been for the last couple of episodes.
Not really since they even started the show.
Yeah.
Like, this is a whole new thing. Like, Sam's like, wow, he said goodbye, and he meant it in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not mad at me. Mm-hmm. So it cuts over to Dean talking to the professor, and he's asking a lot of questions.
Well, and the professor says, like, well, it's not every day that we get somebody asking about pagan idolatry, which idolatry is not a word that's in my vocabulary. Mm-hmm. So I looked it up, and basically it's the worship of an idol, along with other religions, plus Christianity. Mm-hmm. Idolatry kind of connotates the worship of something or someone other than God. Mm-hmm. So it's not just worshiping something. It's worshiping something other than the God that Christianity, or there's a few other religions that they mention, but it's worshiping a God that is not what those religions see as a God.
Well, with a lot of newer religions, and I mean newer in the sense of like Christianity and Catholicism and everything, there's a singular God. And way back before that was a thing, it's multiple gods. Well, I'm saying like in the sense of having a singular God. Like if you look back further, mm-hmm. a lot of the older religions and paganism, there's not one singular God. It's multiples. Mm-hmm. So Dean is looking for one about anything. He's like, well, do you know where the people came from that started that town? And he's like, I believe it was Scandinavia.
Right. They start talking about
Norse gods and goddesses.
Yep. And
isn't that the Vikings?
The Norse gods?
Yeah.
Well, it's Scandinavian. Pagan is so hard for me to kind of
pinpoint.
It really is, because I come from a Christian background. I know the Bible. Mm-hmm. I was very involved in my church, and I've dissected more than one book of the Bible. Paganism is kind of where I'm leaning towards now that I've had like my spiritual awakening.
Well, it's because it's more spiritual.
And it's the basis of a lot. The Christianity, the religion itself does not want to recognize that. Like, I've never felt...
No, but they did turn a lot of pagan holidays into Christian holidays to help convert pagans.
I don't want to turn this podcast into something that is super religious or that makes you question your religion at all. Ever.
No, but
this is a topic for a different podcast, a different time, a different place. But once I had my spiritual awakening, I didn't even realize there was no light shined on the fact that maybe Christmas was something other than, oh, Christmas. No, mm-hmm. it's everything down to the Christmas tree, the lights, the wreath that you hang on your door.
I mean, when I first met you, you baked a cake for Jesus' birthday.
I still do that.
You still do that?
I still do that. Yeah. Because do I know that Jesus was not born on Christmas? Absolutely, I do.
Yeah, but it's still Jesus' birthday.
It's our tradition that we have for my family. So we still do that. But do I know where the religions are from the Yule? and the solstice. Yes, I do know that. And I am more spiritually awakened now than I ever have been in my life. The pagan religion and the paganism that they show in this, like, it just made my ears perk up so much now, more than when I first actually watched the episode, just because I know that there is...
Well, you're more knowledgeable about it now than you were then.
Mm-hmm. And I'm more open to it, because back then, too, like, if somebody said, hey, your Christianity is kind of a farce...
Yeah.
I'd be like, no, it's not. No, it is not. This is my religion. This is right. This is true. This is what everybody in my life has told me. This is true. And so I'm going to believe them. And I was like Dean in the sense where I was just blindly following because I was told to. Mm-hmm. And now that I have had my education, like Sam, and I have found my own spiritual awakening, I can start to question those things and actually research them. If knowledge is power.
Well, and you are comfortable in your research. You don't feel like it's going to shake your foundation.
No.
It's just opening up your mind to more possibilities.
Knowledge is power. You
Knowledge
don't
is
have
power.
you don't have to turn a blind eye to everything, because I don't either.
No.
Just like I won't throw away my Bible. I won't stop making a cake for Jesus' birthday, even though
I joked about it before.
I
but,
know.
like, I would never expect you
No,
to
I know.
throw away your Bible. I would.
I know,
But
I know. And that's the thing. Like, I am so woke at this point that I don't need to have somebody tell me, this is what you need to follow. This is what you need to do. This is what I would do. So, and before I would be like, yep, I'm going to do that because that's what you would do. And there's so much more to it. And I'm not going to keep continuing on my soapbox, and I'm not going to keep continuing my rant, but I really like this episode just because there's a lot that you can read into it.
So back on track from the rabbit trail, Dean is grilling this professor pretty much, and he is asking him all about he's just looking for one god, not a bunch of them, and it might inhabit an orchard. The professor's like, well, that could be a woods god.
Right.
But
they're looking for the Norse gods and goddesses. And they come across this picture in this great big leather-bound book of a scarecrow in a field.
Well, not only that, but they are super white pages in a very old book.
Yeah.
They should have thought that through. Yeah. Anyway, he found one that looks like a scarecrow, and he's like, hey, look, that's it. And the professor's like, well, that's not really a woods god.
Right.
And
it's a Vanner.
From what Dean reads in the book, it says it's a god of protection and prosperity.
Yeah.
And it helps with keeping the local settlements safe from harm. The villages would build effigies to the Vanir in their fields, and other villages sometimes practiced human sacrifice, one male and one female.
So and this just goes to show the versatility of pagans, some branches of the religion that will just build shrines to these gods that they have. And then there's some parts of the religion, some branches of it, of the pagans that will be like, sacrifice.
Yeah.
They need blood worship.
They need more power.
Yeah. But the Vanners, it's a group of the gods that are associated with nature, fertility, wisdom, and the ability to see the futures. For them to pinpoint this god that they had been looking for that quickly, out of all the gods and goddesses that they have in the Vanner area of gods and goddesses, was very quick.
They flipped through 4 pages.
Oh yeah.
Yay television shows.
Yeah.
So Dean's kind of looks like a scarecrow, huh? And then he finds out that its power comes from a certain tree. And Dean's like, so if I torch the tree, it'll kill the god, right?
And the guy's like, well, these are just legends we're discussing.
Like, you realize this isn't real life, right?
And he's like, yeah, sure. Yeah, that's right.
Like, whatever you say, bud.
Yeah. And then, so he goes to leave the professor's office where they're looking at this book.
Yeah.
And the sheriff of the town of Burkittsville fucking
smacks him in the head with a rifle.
Yeah, he buttstock smacks him right in the face.
Pistol whips him with the rifle.
Yeah, and knocks him out. And the professor just looks at him like, couldn't have got here sooner.
All I keep thinking is, what? Wait, what?
Yeah.
What?
You know that the fucking professor called him.
Oh, totally. He must be a local from the town.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes to a bunch of the locals talking about protecting the town, and that this god is angry with them
Yeah, because
Dean saved the couple.
And the trees are already starting to turn and they're starting to die. And we have to do something to appease this god. And he's already angry with us. And it's the aunt and uncle, the sheriff,
owner.
And the cafe owner.
Yeah, and they're talking about...
well, if the boy has to die, the boy has to die.
Like, that's fine. But this is murder. Yeah. And come to find out, they're talking about their niece. And the
Emily.
aunts... Yeah, Emily. They're talking about killing their niece, Emily. And the aunt's like, it's for the greater good.
Oh.
Like, one death is better than a bunch of deaths. One death is better than the whole death of our town.
We have to appease him. Like, he's already angry with us. Like, what has to happen has to happen.
Yeah. They think they're doing it all for the common good. Like, this is just much better than anything that they could have thought of.
And so then we see Dean in a cellar, and the door opens, and they throw Emily down in the cellar with him.
Yeah.
And she legit has no fucking idea.
She has no idea
what's going on. She's lived in this town since she was 13, but she has no fucking clue. Ignorance must be fucking bliss.
Yeah, and she's like, why are you doing this? And the aunt's like, for the common good.
Yeah.
And all I keep thinking is like, fuck you, lady.
Yep. And so we jump back over to Sam and
the bus is there.
And Meg, and the bus is in the station, and Meg's like, hey, Sam, our bus is here. And he's like, better catch it. Bye.
Yeah, I can't go.
And she's like, wait, what? Why? Why can't you come with me?
And Sam's like, well, I've been trying to get a hold of my brother for 3 hours, and he's not answered, and it's not like him to not answer, or at least call me back. Like, this is weird.
Yeah, and she's like, well, maybe he turned his phone off. Come with me. Come with me to California. Just come with me.
Yeah, and Sam's like, no, I have to go help my brother.
Yeah.
Like, we may not get along all the time, but this is not good. This is perking my ears to danger.
And Meg's
I
like,
need to go help.
Well, isn't this the brother that you ran away from?
Yeah.
Isn't this the one that you said that was so bad that you had to leave? Like, why are you going back to him?
And she's really pushing him to go to California with her.
Super, super pushing on the fact that he needs to just go with her.
Yeah, and Sam's like, I'm not going to go. It's a family thing.
He's my family. I gotta go. Like, get on your fucking bus. I gotta go.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the last of it. We see Sam leave the bus station, but not on the bus.
Get up and go.
Yep.
So Dean is trying to break him and Emily out of the cellar during this.
And poor Emily, all I can think of is poor fucking Emily. She's like, wait, so...
She's just so naive.
They're trying to kill us? And Dean's like...
Sacrifices. Which is, I don't know, classier, I guess.
Like...
And Dean kind of tells her, like, I need your help with this. I need your help to get us out of this situation.
Mm-hmm. She's like, what do you need me to do?
Like, have you heard of a tree? Like, anywhere that the locals would consider it sacred.
Or treat with a lot of respect.
With a lot of respect. And she's like, well, I mean...
There's a tree that the immigrants brought over with them, and they call it the first tree. It's in the orchard, but she has no idea where it would be.
Yeah, she has no idea.
And he's like, Yahtzee.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the one.
Okay, let's go find it.
That's the one we got to find. So at that point, the sheriff, the aunt and uncle, and Scotty open up the door, and...
It's time.
Yeah, it's sundown. It is the sacrificial hour, and they tie them to... a couple of trees in the orchard.
Yeah. And Dean goes,
hope your apple pie is freaking worth it.
Yeah. Because they tie them together, or they tie them to the tree and they walk away. But Emily's aunt, she says something that's pretty fucking profound. Because Harley is telling Emily he's so sorry. He's so sorry it has to happen this way. And he's so sorry that she has to be the one, but it has to be this way. And Emily is like, but I'm family.
Yeah.
And the aunt says, well, that's what sacrifice is. It's giving up something that you love for the greater good. The town needs to be saved, and the good of many outweighs the good of the one.
Mm-hmm.
And we hear that line, the good of the many outweighs the good of the one, so many fucking times throughout this series.
Yeah.
Especially when Cass comes into play.
Yeah.
They use that line so many fucking times. And one thing that I thought of, too... after knowing where the whole thing goes with Chuck and God and all of that.
Well, Chuck is God, but yeah.
To the ones that don't know that Chuck is God.
Surprise.
Yeah. After all of the things that Sam and Dean go through, and they pray to God, and after they meet Cass and realize that angels are a thing, and God is a thing, and hell is a thing,
Like,
and
it's all really real.
it's all real, and so they start praying for help, and help never comes.
Yeah.
After I saw this episode today, and knowing how it kind of all just gets all tied together, I'm thinking to myself, so they pray to God, and he never shows up. But this pagan god comes down every year.
Mm-hmm.
At least they know he's there. Like, he might not... Pagan god might not be the best god to fucking form your shit after, but
he shows up.
But he's there. Just kind
It's a scale of, like, am I really willing to, like, weigh my options here? Do I want the pagan god who wants me to kill people, or do I want the god that never shows up and helps?
Yeah,
I mean...
it's very much a...
Meh.
Where do we stand with this? Anyways...
So it gets dark, and Emily's like, you don't have a plan, do you? You really don't have a plan. And Dean's like, I'm working on it.
I'm working on it. And he's like, keep an eye on that scarecrow and see if he comes down off the cross. She's like, I can't see him. Wait, oh shit, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And she starts freaking out.
Yeah.
And something is moving. And what's happening?
Yeah.
And oh my God, it's Sam.
It's Sam.
He comes back.
He helps them. And Dean's like, what the hell? And he's like, I stole a car. And I'm like, your morals, they're gone for right now.
You did
Look
a thing.
at you.
Yay.
You did something bad for the good.
And Dean's like, well, keep an eye on that scarecrow. He could come off that cross at any moment. And Sam's like, what scarecrow?
Yeah, what? What are you talking about?
Dun, dun, dun.
They go looking for the sacred tree once Sam frees them both.
Well...
And the locals start showing up with, like, the flashlights.
No, they're leaving. They're getting the fuck out of that
I
orchard.
thought they were looking for the tree.
No, because Dean's like, don't fucking care where it's at right now. We're just going to leave this orchard, and we will come back the next day.
Yeah,
like, we will come back tomorrow.
Do it later.
Yeah. And they run into the townspeople. And
Everybody has guns and fucking flashlights, and they're keeping them in the orchard so that way the scarecrow can sacrifice them.
Yeah.
But... Dun, dun, dun. Mm-hmm. Scarecrow doesn't give a fuck who it sacrifices as long as it sacrifices a male and a female.
I don't care that you have been the one that has been feeding me my sacrificial, like...
Lambs
for the last however many years.
You are the first two that I am in front of, and I'm going to kill you.
I'm going to take you with me. And he takes his fucking sickle, and he slams it through the calf of Uncle Harley.
Yeah.
And drags him away by it.
Yep.
And... all he has to do is just like...
I'm going to use your skin as my meat suit,
oh,
sir.
Man. He takes it, forcefully takes that meat suit.
Yes. So, it's daylight after that. Like, the two were taken.
Because they come back the next day.
Yeah, they come back the next day. Mm-hmm. After I think it's the aunt and the uncle that were sacrificed.
Because it's a male and a female.
Yeah.
And she's like, there's no one else. She was telling Emily the whole time, there's no one else. There's no one else that can do this. There's no one else that can be this person.
But there is. Surprise. It's you, motherfucker.
Doesn't really matter who it is as long as it's a male and a female.
Yep. So they come back the next day when it's light out, and they go looking for...
the sacred tree.
The sacred tree. They find it, and Emily's like, I want to do it.
Dean tells her, he's like, you realize that the town's going to die, right? If you do this, like, this is the fate that you are sealing for everyone in this town. If you do this, the town dies. And she's like, good.
Yeah, she's like, yep.
Fucking let them burn.
That's what she wants.
Yep.
And they watch it burn. And then they take Emily to the bus station, and she gets on the bus, nods her head, and leaves.
Yep. And she's headed towards Boston. Do you notice that?
I did not notice that.
Mm-hmm. She's headed towards Boston. And we never see Emily again.
No.
And it's not a significance that she's headed from Indiana to Boston, but I just thought it was interesting. Yeah.
So after that, Sam decides he's just going to stay with Dean. That he still wants to find John. But, you know, he's better off staying with his brother.
Yeah.
And...
because Dean asks him, can I drop you anywhere off? Or off anywhere?
And he's like, nah.
No, I think I'm going to stay with you.
Yeah, he says, you and me, we're all that's left.
Mm-hmm. He's like, Mom's gone. Jess is gone. Dad's God knows where, and that's not going to change.
Yeah.
So you and I, we're the only ones that are left.
And then he goes, "You should be kissing my ass, dude. You were dead meat."
Yeah, because Dean tells him, he's like, "Hold me, Sam. That was beautiful."
That was beautiful.
And yeah, and it almost looks like, because they're having this conversation, this
having a
very
chick flick
beautiful.
moment.
They're having their chick flick moment, and it's very beautiful right outside of Baby, and both of them climb into Baby, and you think you're gonna get that nice sweet shot of her ass driving down the road,
But you don't.
Nope.
You don't. Cuts to Meg in another creepy van.
Yep.
With another creepy dude who's very dingy.
Yeah.
And she's like, "You should pull over." And he's like, "All right," like, about to get that handy. Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah, he thinks he's getting a little something, something.
Yeah. And that's where I
She
noticed that
pulls
there's
out
the
a
mural
goblet.
painted on the side of the van. I'm like, is that the same creepy van?
We'll see.
We'll see.
But
Stay tuned.
she pulls a goblet out of her, like, backpack, and she's like, "Well, I gotta make a call." And he's like, "I got a cell phone you can use." She's like, "Not that kind of call." And she fucking slits his throat.
Yeah, and it's a big goblet with, like, skulls and stuff on the side.
Yeah. And so she
Like,
slits his
wide-mouthed.
very, very big. And she slits his throat and fills her goblet up with his blood.
And then she performs a spell over it.
Yep, she, like, stirs the blood around with her finger and chants something. And even in the subtitles, it doesn't say what she's saying. It just
speaking
says
in foreign language.
Yep, it says foreign language.
But when it shows the blood again, you know those, like, magnets with the black powder type stuff, but it
Like a
forms
sand?
in, like, points and stuff when the magnet passes over? That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it's like like
And
bubbles, kind of.
She's, like, talking to whoever on the other side, and she's like, "But I could have taken them. I could have taken them both. Like, why couldn't I just do it?"
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, "Yes, Father, I understand as to why she could not
Yeah,
kill them." And then that's it.
yeah,
Like, scene. Show's over. Done.
that's it. She's talking to the blood, and we don't know that she's a demon at this point. Like, we still don't know she's a demon. She may be just practicing in the occult. She may just be
A witch.
she may be something.
Yeah.
We don't know what she is at this point, but she is calling whatever she is talking to in the blood Father.
Yeah.
And she is able to...
Like, we know that she's a demon. Us personally, because we've watched the show and we've seen
Yeah.
the end of what happens to Meg.
Right.
But at this point, we don't know she's a demon. But we, spoiler alert,
But she's a
during the
demon.
first episode, so she's a demon.
So we know that John's alive in this episode.
Yes.
We know he's alive for a fact.
We know that what he's chasing is a demon.
We know that that demon killed Mary and Jess.
Yes.
We know that Sam has thrown a hissy fit, which is the first of many.
Well, it's not the first, but it's one of the notable ones.
Well, one of the ones where he splits away from his brother.
yeah, where he runs away again.
Yeah, he just, bye. And Meg is something very dark. We don't know she's a demon, but we know she's a demon because, and now you know she's a demon because we just told you.
Yeah.
But shit's getting real good.
Yeah.
And
The plot thickens, and it's a good thick.
yeah,
She's the thick bitch.
like with the 2 C's.
thick.
Thick.
Yeah. But that's it.
That's it. That's the road so far.
Yeah. So, where can they find you, Haley?
I am on the Twitter at Get the Salt Haley. You can find us on the Twitter at _Get the Salt.
Mm-hmm.
Email is podcastgetthesalt@gmail.com. And my personal email is haleygetthesalt@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Get the Salt Tasha. And then they can also find us on Facebook, which seems to be where most of our followers are from on Facebook, at Get the Salt, a Supernatural Podcast. I do not have personal email because I'm not cool like Haley is,
You can make one.
but I could make one. I could. Well, stay tuned. We'll see if I do. I'm very forgetful. But that's it.
Things are going to start getting even better.
Yep, and we
Stay
are going
with
to be
us.
starting a website here soon. So hopefully
Yes.
you can visit a website here soon.
Yes. It's It's going to get good. It's going to get real good. Episodes and websites and social media and all of the fun is going to get real good real fast. So grip on tight and we'll raise you from perdition.
Yes, please. All right. Bye.
Bye.